If you've been in the Minecraft 1.16 PvP community for a while now, then you would know that ping plays an important role in your ability. And in case you're not familiar with the 1.16 vanilla PvP meta, end crystals are the main weapons, and your ability with them is heavily based on your ping or connection to a server. Now, before making this video, I knew that ping was something that would be a problem for creating a fair competitive scene, but after writing the script, I now realize how detrimental it is towards the state of fair PvP. Now obviously, one cannot take the state of PvP too competitively to begin with, since other factors such as the random knockback outrule the ping problem anyways. But in the end, ping is more impactful toward your ability, as well as how it affects our competitive goblet, the tier list. Base underscore, a tester for this tier list, also brings up the point that not every game will be a perfect game for either player, and that the tiers are heavily dependent on a series of tests, rather than all of a player's games overall. And before you even watch this video, just know that almost all tier lists are subjective, so I compliment the owners of ours, but the problems I'm exposing in this video make fairly ranking players a huge issue. It is crucial to note that the tier that a player is classified, despite there being organized tests, is always going to be subjective because of ping and relative to different regions. And one more thing I want to make clear, this video is not a diss on the tier list specifically, it's just the problems that ping presents to it. Now then, with all that out of the way, let's get on to the point of this video. Take this into consideration. I can beat everyone in tier 1 on the tier list on a consistent basis, except for Theo404, since he's also a West Coaster and really good, but only when I'm on low ping. And everyone that's East Coast or EU in tier 1 can beat me, but only on low ping. Do you see the problem here? So there's no way for me to say I'm better than any of them if we each can beat each other consistently, depending on where the server we're fighting on is hosted. Now this leads into my next point in the video. If I can beat all the tier 1 players on low ping, then why do I need to fight tier 2 players in order to advance to that? Stay tuned because I'll reveal the answer to this question in a few minutes. I want to make it very clear again that I'm not saying that the way the tier list works is bad. I'm simply using this instance as an example to show you guys how ping has caused us to create workarounds for the tier list in order to more accurately label skill. So what instance am I talking about anyways? Well, let me give you some background. My friend and PvP practice partner, Theo404, recently claimed the role of tier 1 on this tier list. This made me realize that I could get the role if I wanted to as well. I can beat all the same people he did for his tests. So I did a little experiment to see if I could do the same thing he did. Theo had made his way to high tier 2, and besides my demotion for an activity, I had as well. So then, for his tier 1 placement, he had to beat a tier 1 East Coast player, It's Real Me, which he did. And he got to do it on low ping while It's was on high ping. So what if I did the same thing with 2Ns Revi, also a tier 1 East Coast player? If I beat a tier 1 East Coast player while I was on low ping just as Theo did, does that mean I could be considered as a tier 1 as well? So I decided to fight 2Ns Revi on West Coast for a test. Little disclaimer, even though I did win the one match we played, I was playing on an account he didn't know about, so he definitely would have played differently if he knew it was me. So obviously this doesn't serve as reliable reasoning, but that's not really the main point here. Plus, besides him, I can beat It's Real Me consistently on West Coast anyways. He told me it was hard to get a good rating since I was on low ping and he was on higher. Now to be fair, I would say the same thing if I was in the situation testing someone. Since if we were testing on East Coast, our pings would be exactly the opposite. But then, he says it put me in tier 3, so I just beat a tier 1 East Coast player, as well as being able to beat It's Real Me on West Coast. Why do you get to be a tier 1 for playing on low ping, but I don't? I'm in the same position as Theo. Does that mean that I should be able to have the tier 1 role as well? Well, the short answer is actually no. So apart from me not actually following the tier list rules and fighting the high tier 2s like Theo did, there's actually a bigger reason for this not being the case. Revi's argument was that I had to beat some of the other West Coast players as well, despite being able to beat all the tier 1s on low ping. Now at first, I honestly thought this was a joke, but I actually didn't realize something that was changed about the tier list since Theo's testing. The reason you can't simply put me in tier 1 despite all this is because of ping. Since we obviously can't fairly test two separate regions, he's made region-based testing. The reason this is a problem for me and not Theo is since it was introduced before I began this experiment, but after Theo got tier 1, by fighting with the ping advantage. I'm not saying Theo shouldn't be tier 1. In fact, in my opinion, he's the best performing West Coast player at the moment, along with Iceflake. So this also adds to the reason why I can't be put in tier 1. If they want tier 1 to be the top player per region, then I would need to consistently beat everyone in this region. It may sound like I'm salty for not being in tier 1 right now, but the real reason I'm mentioning this is to answer the question of how ping has affected the tier list that we mentioned earlier. And that answer is region-based testing. Revi's smart and knows how important ping is, so that's why he's made the change for the list, and it definitely helps in more fairly determining a skill. So, most people don't realize that in a way, the tier list is actually split into region-based tier lists because of this, but just combined into one central list to streamline things. So this brings me back to the problem. You can't easily create a single tier list for everyone when ping plays such a large role. My point here is the tier list is not the problem, but rather ping, We can work around this with region-based tests, but cannot have a definite single list to compare everyone's skill when ping and RNG exist in this block game of ours. There is no single true list, because there is no single best ping. Everyone has their advantages and disadvantages depending on wherever their tier tests take place. Again, this adds to the main point of the video of how impactful ping is towards the competitive state of Minecraft PvP. Region-based testing is a great step in the right direction of fighting ping. The ping problem has also somewhat been fixed by creating a more central server, which eliminates ping difference between East and West Coast players. However, regions like Europe or South America or Australia will still have a disadvantage. It's tough to accurately judge Minecraft PvP skill. I wish it wasn't because we love this game and much of the community, but it's really tough to make a single list. I want to at least make people more aware of the role ping plays in our game after watching this video. The point of me making this video was not to see if I could get the top spot on a list or not. The bigger picture here was to expose just how impactful ping is towards competitive Minecraft PvP. I congratulate Revy and testers for creating a list that is not based on opinion, since they do have their tests, but I just want to open up the community's eyes to the bigger problem at play here, being ping. To finalize, determining skill in Minecraft PvP is near impossible to conduct accurately due to factors like random knockback, but most importantly, ping. Finally, as it stands, gods like the great Fook and long retired C841 were unrecognized for their godly skill. That was for you, Joe. Anyways, welcome to the end of the video. Whether or not you liked my opinion, go and subscribe if I opened your eyes to the importance of ping. Also comment what you think of all of this. This is Rasplin, and I'll see you guys next time.